Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. After my last video where I told you that my interests nowadays are not really the same as they were when I started this channel, some of you have said that you would actually be interested in seeing me talk about some of the things I'm interested in nowadays. And one of those things is antiques, especially antique jewellery. So today we're going to do that. I've got my little antique jewellery box here. I'll tell you a bit more about it in a minute. But first, I wanted to tell you a bit about why I'm so interested in antiques and antique jewellery. So if you want to skip straight to the jewellery bit, you can. I'll put a little thing so you can do that. Right, let me just put this to the side and I will start talking. So, I didn't like history in school. In German school, we did a lot of like the Roman Empire, obviously a lot of the Holocaust, which is, you know, really important. But I don't know, history was just never really my subject. I wasn't very good at remembering dates and like when wars were and all that. So I don't know, I also had really old-fashioned teachers that didn't really do maybe the best job at teaching history. It was all very boring, like writing on the board, kind of snoozy history lessons. So yeah, that wasn't my thing growing up, but I think it was really in the last 3 to 5 years that I started to have somewhat of an interest in old things, as I like to say. So I have been interested in like vintage jewellery for a little while. My wedding ring is from the 50s, my engagement ring is from the late 19th century. And that's kind of where it started off. Also, as you know, I live in a Victorian house. I did a house tour and we are now pretty sure the house was built in the 1880s. And what I think the reason is on why I feel like I gravitate towards especially the Victorian era is the fact that I grew up with my dad's side of the family. So my grandmother, my dad's mum, lived next door to us when I grew up, and she was born in 1926. Her husband, my granddad, was born in 1911. Unfortunately, he died about a year before I was born, so I never met him, but I was very close with my nan, and I was over there pretty much every day. I slept over there all the time. I was just in and out of her house, and she told me a lot about obviously the Second World War and when she grew up, when she was a child, but obviously her parents were Victorian, so a lot of the stuff in our house was Victorian from like her parents and things that, you know, she just took with her. And obviously my granddad was nearly an Edwardian because he was born in 1911, so his parents were also Victorians. So a lot of the stories she told me about like him and his family, I don't know, I think that's why nowadays I really gravitate towards kind of that kind of era. So in terms of like furniture and jewellery, I'm really into Art Nouveau, or the German counterpart is Jugendstil. I just really love like that organic flow and the patterns that they used. I'm also really into architecture, so I love mid-Victorian architecture, say 1860s. It really hurts me when I see, you know, beautiful Victorian manor houses or just bigger houses, you know, getting bought by investors and stripped into these, in my opinion, very ugly, one bad bedsits, like flats with grey carpet and horrible, like they're ripping out all the character, you know, fireplace gone, corners gone, ceiling rows gone, put carpet everywhere. Like I hate that. There's actually a really nice Victorian house near to where I live that I go past every day that I think was derelict for a few years and has been bought at auction recently, and they are currently working on it. So far they've ripped all the windows out. They have replaced them with new sash windows, which is, you know, better than I thought, but they're black, so I think it really doesn't work. So you know, I walk past it every day. I'm like, please do not butcher this. It has a beautiful front door with like stained glass. It's amazing. I think it even has a mint and tile path. So every day I walk past it, I'm just like, please don't ruin this. So yeah, I'm just really waffling on here, but I don't know what it is, but I feel like this connection to especially the Victorian Edwardian era and the early 20th century, so like I said, Art Nouveau, kind of that sort of thing, My house is furnished in a lot of antique furniture. I love auctions. I'm a bit addicted to like auction websites and just seeing what there is. So in this room that I'm in right now, I've got a Victorian little dressing table, I've got a Victorian sewing box, I've got an Edwardian little cabinet. So yeah, I just really love incorporating that into this house because I think, again, it fits this house because this house is Victorian. Obviously, it's not a grand house, it's a old working person's house, working family's house. It's not a grand mansion. If I'm ever fortunate enough to have any money, I would love to have a company that kind of saves period houses. So like, I guess property development, but in a sense that you restore things, you know, and you sympathetically renovate. Like, you don't just rip everything out, like you try and keep the character. That would be like a dream. But yeah, nowhere near that. So that's, I think, because I can't afford doing that, why I'm so into like furniture and jewellery, because jewellery and furniture is something I can afford, because actually antiques are not always expensive. So you can get a lot of beautiful Victorian furniture for super, super cheap because, you know, brown furniture isn't exactly en vogue right now. So you can get a super intricately carved thing for like 20 quid sometimes. It's crazy. So for this part of the video, I will turn the camera around so you can actually see everything, but I just quickly wanted to show you my jewellery box. This is actually quite a good example of a cheap antique. So this is a jewellery box, and it's got a little mother of pearl little inlay here, and it says August 28th, 1848, and it's got like little initials, and it's JF. Comes with a key, and I think this is rosewood, I'm not sure. And this was, I think, a tenner. Crazy, isn't it? It's got like some velvet inlay, and then I just have my jewellery in there, which is not, it's not a lot, but yeah, I keep it in this little roll. So I'll show you this close up now, but I just wanted to show you the jewellery box because I think it's just so lovely. So yeah, let's have a look at my rings. Welcome to this view. Before we start with the rings, I did want to show you this. And also, please don't mind my hands. I work with my hands, so I know they're not, you know, nice looking, but yeah, just ignore that. But this is my actual great-grandmother's bracelet. So this is, it doesn't have much value. It's cut steel, silver. I think it's 835, which is the German standard of silver. But this is my granddad's mother's, I believe, that she got when she was quite young. So as my granddad was born in I think my great-grandmother was born in I want to say 87. So this is probably from the 1890s. And yeah, I was given this when my grandmother died because she had kept it, I think. So yeah, this is kind of how my love of Victorian things really started. And I got given this 20 years ago, and I've never worn it, but I've always, you know, kept it, and I always thought it was really cool to have this. So that's the oldest, not as in how old the piece is, but that's the piece I had the longest, I guess you could say. So I just thought I'd show you that as well. But now let's get into the rings. So here's a little view from far away, and I don't really know how to start. I guess we start with like the rings I had the longest. So let's start with my engagement ring, shall we? So this is a little, I wish I had a macro lens, so I can't come as close as I would like to. Let me try and zoom you in a bit. Isn't it gonna work? Ooh. Come back out a bit. Okay, I think that's the best we can do. So this is an Art Nouveau 18 karat gold ring with 2 little diamonds. It's a very classic kind of style, like a trois et moi, my French is terrible, ring. And there's not much to say about this. Its hallmarks have sadly been mostly removed, so there isn't much I can tell you about this ring other than that I obviously love it. But yeah, I've had this ring since 2017. So I've had this for 5 years, and I don't wear it all the time because it's quite delicate. And I generally, like I said, I work with my hands, which you can see by the fact that my fingers are wrecked. But yeah, I don't wear this all the time, but I love it. So that's the first one. Then obviously we have to quickly mention my wedding band. Like I said, it's vintage, so it technically doesn't belong in this video. but you can see the hallmarks here. It's a Birmingham assay office, and I think it's 22 karat gold. And I believe, I haven't actually checked this, but I do think it's from the 1950s, this one. So it's very, very simple. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way, I guess. Now let's get into the interesting things. So this one here is a ring I bought last year in 2021. And this is kind of how my obsession with antique jewellery, I think, started, or like restarted, I guess. So I saw this ring on Etsy and I just loved it. Like, I just thought it was quite unique. Like, it's very, very obviously Art Nouveau. Like, you can just, the leafy kind of look of it, like you can just tell that this is definitely Art Nouveau. It's got these 3 pearls which have lost their kind of luster, but that's very normal for old jewellery. And the hallmarks again have unfortunately been lost when it was resized. It at some point had hallmarks. I know it's 9 karat rose gold and it's huge. I haven't had it resized yet, but it's absolutely massive. Like, I could wear this on my thumb. And I just love the design of it. I haven't worn it because I haven't had it resized yet. I should probably get that done. But yeah, this ring just kind of sparked my love again of antique jewellery. So once I got this one, I was kind of a little bit hooked. So let's look at another, and let's look at the other 9 karat rose gold one I have. And this one I bought when it was very, very broken. So when I bought this, it was missing both of its side pearls and it was super, super dirty. So this one is the first one that actually has all its hallmarks. So you can see there 9375, that just means that it's 9 karat gold. The anchor is the assay office for Birmingham, and then the date letter. Yeah, the date letter is for 1897, I do believe. So, you know, it's reasonably, still kind of late Victorian, but a bit more towards the middle. So this one I do wear. I have thought about selling it, but I think I'm too attached to it. So I do have an Etsy actually where I do sell some of the stuff I find and buy at auction. I'll link it below if anyone's interested. There are a few rings on there as well if you care. But yeah, this one I got very affordably. I think because it was broken, it was quite bent, and because it was so dirty, no one really wanted it. So I think it, you know, it came up quite nice. And that one actually does like fit kind of on one of my fingers. So yeah, I do really like that one. Now, this one has a story. So I'm sorry, this is going to be quite long-winded. So this ring is kind of the whole reason why I'm obsessed with antiques, I think. So here it goes. This ring. I saw this ring on an auction site. I think it was November last year. And I absolutely loved it. Like, it's, look at it. It's so nice. It's late Victorian. It's from the 1880s. I love pearls, which you can probably already tell because 2 of the rings I showed you already have pearls. And they're in really good shape. I mean, some of them might be replacements, but probably not all of them. I just love the design. It's 18 karat gold. And it's just in such a, it's just nice quality, you know, like you could just tell even from the photo on the auction site that this is a really nice ring. Right. So I set myself a budget for this ring and I was going to bid on it. And then someone immediately went in like £40 over my max budget. And I let it go, you know, I just went, oh, okay, no, I guess I'm not getting this ring. So why am I holding this now, you ask? Well, so I let this ring go to someone else and I immediately regretted it. So immediately I was like, oh, this ring, because I really, really just loved it. And it's a size J, which I wear a size I 2J, it depends. But it's very rare for me to find rings in my size because I have quite small fingers. So I just felt like it was kind of meant to be and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, it's just so beautiful, right? So I went a little bit obsessed with it. So I actually emailed the auction house and went, did this go to a reseller? Because a lot of the times, you know, auctions go and people buy things to resell, like I do sometimes for my Etsy shop. I will buy things and then I will clean them up and put them on Etsy to sell on, or I'll save like scrap rings and sell them on. This obviously isn't a scrap ring, but still, I thought maybe an antique dealer bought this. So I emailed the auction house and they said, oh no, I think this went to a private buyer. So I was shattered, and I kept trying to find a ring like this, because sometimes designs aren't unique. You can sometimes find rings that look pretty much identical to other rings. So I literally looked online every day for probably hours, for months, and I just couldn't find anything remotely close to this. And it actually did not stop bugging me. Like, it wasn't like 6 weeks later I was like, oh yeah, I'm over it. Like, I literally could not stop thinking about this bloody ring. And then one night I went on Etsy, and you know what I saw? This bloody ring was on my recommended page and someone was selling it. And it was a big antiques dealer actually. So don't know why the auction told me it went to a private buyer, or maybe they bought it with a different profile. I do not know, but someone was reselling this for literally like 8 times the price that I didn't even want to spend. But because I could not stop thinking about this ring, and it was my birthday that week, I decided I'm going to splurge out and buy this ring at an absolutely overpriced, overinflated amount. And I did, and I'm actually glad I did. So yeah, this ring came to me over, a very complicated path, but it's mine now and I absolutely love it. So I do think it's 18 karat Birmingham, and I think it's 1884, this hallmark. That's Tate barking downstairs. Can you hear him? I wonder if you can hear him. I'm going to try and ignore him, but yeah, this is the ring. Put it on, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't wear it very often. I already lost the pearl, like pretty much just the first time I wore it, I lost the pearl. I was not happy, obviously, but I replaced it and you can't really tell which one it is. But yeah, love it. Next, we've got this ring. And this ring was actually, if you can tell, an attempt to find something similar to this ring. So this ring I actually bought while I was still looking for a replacement for this. And it is, it's fairly similar, but it's not very similar. But I do love it in its own right. So this one is again pearls. I bought it again damaged. It was missing 2 pearls, so I replaced those. Has a little diamond in the middle, and then it's 15 karat gold. So if you didn't know, they stopped making 15 karat gold at some point in the early 20th century. So if you ever come across anything that's 15 karat gold or 625, then you can be sure that this is an old piece. So the hallmarks on this are 15 karat gold Birmingham and 1891, which is cool. Again, late Victorian. I just love this style. I love the shoulders. Just think again, this is a lovely ring, and this is again a bit big for me, so I can wear it on like my middle finger. I'm not going to because it's kind of hard to get off right now, but I can get it on there. And I do really love it. Right, now we're to the last one now. This is my most recent acquisition and probably the last one for a while, because I think I want to keep my collection small. So basically if I buy anything new now, I have to sell something old first. It's kind of the rule now. But this, again, I'm pretty obsessed with. So this and what I call the ring are probably the 2 I'm the most obsessed about. But this one I found on an auction site, I think it was in May or June. And it has these 4 pearls, and then it has 2 tiny like diamond shards. And this is 22 carats. And what's, in my opinion, quite special about this is its age and its hallmarks, actually. Let me try and get you to see this. So this one has a few more hallmarks than you would normally see, because all the rings we looked at pretty much had like maybe a maker's mark, the fineness of gold, then the assay office and the date letter. But this one actually has more than that. So again, I don't know how well you can see this, but on the very left hand side, the first thing here, that is Queen Victoria's head. So that is the duty mark. The next one is the date letter, and this is the date letter for 1851. Then you can see the crown and 22. This just means that it's 22 carats. Then this little leopard head is the assay office for London. And then there is also a maker's mark on this side, which is, I believe it's T&S or T&E. I can't remember. Yeah, it's T&E. I never found out who this maker is, but yeah, 1851 is pretty early to find fully stamped jewellery for, I find. I find it pretty difficult to find jewellery kind of before 1860 that is fully stamped. And also, I've been finding it really hard to find London assay. Now, the assay office doesn't like mean anything as in it's better or worse, but because, you know, I lived in London so long and London is kind of special to me, I always love finding London assay office pieces that I love. So this is like the first one I've really found that's also properly old. So I just think that makes it really special. And the quality of this, again, is really good, which sometimes, because these are all handmade, obviously, sometimes these earlier pieces can be a bit rough and ready, especially when you get to like the Georgian era, everything gets a bit more rough. And again, like, you can't even tell if it's ever been resized. If it has, it's been done amazingly well. And this is kind of why I haven't had this resized, because this again is a bit big for me. Like, I can put this on like any finger, but I don't want to ruin it, so I might not resize it. I'm not sure yet, but I absolutely love it. I just love it. So this one and this one are my two absolute favorites, and you can really see the difference in gold here. So this one's again 22 carats versus 18 carats, so you can just see that the more carat the gold has, which is just how much actual gold is in there, it's just darker, you know, it's just, you can really see that it's more buttery, whatever. So yeah, this was my ring collection. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I put it back in really messily, but yeah, that was that. Which one's your favorite? Let me know. And I hope this was remotely interesting to you. So if you made it that far, thanks. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, having a look at my mostly antique rings. Any questions, you know, let me know. And if you want to share anything with me, put it in the comments. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you soon.